Thanks, everyone, and welcome back to the AI for Revenue Operations HUG event, the HubSpot user group. For anyone I haven't had a chance to meet yet, I'm Brian Garvey, CEO here at Profoundly. I'm joined by Nate Scoburn, CEO at Celestial, co-host of the AIRops HUG. We're super excited to be here. Thank you for joining. If this is your first time joining the AIRops HUG, this HUG is specifically dedicated to how AI is impacting and changing the world of revenue operations. We bring together HubSpot customers and partners and pros and practitioners to talk about how AI is changing their day-to-day and that revenue work that happens across revenue teams and RevOps. I'm especially excited about today's session, though, because I think it's going to surprise a lot of folks. Although, George, before you joined, I asked who had used Breeze before and when the last time was that they used it. And a lot of folks, to my surprise, a lot of folks have used it as recent as yesterday or today. So we have some power users with us
Nice.
today. Yeah, which is going to be awesome. Meanwhile, a lot of folks, I think, outside of this call that I talked to, used Breeze when it launched and then was like, meh, and kind of moved on to other things, right? But over the past few months, we've just seen a lot evolve, and I'm super excited. Today's goal is really simple to show what Breeze can really do today with a lot of those changes. There's nobody I would rather have leading this conversation than the HubSpot legend, George B. Thomas. I'm sure most of you know George. George is the founder of Sidekick Strategies. He is a HubSpot partner through and through, and one of the most respected HubSpot educators in the ecosystem. So he's going to walk us through Breeze Assistant, talk through some real use cases, and really roll up the shirt sleeves and do some great work here. We're going to spend about 25 minutes or so talking with George, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So if you have any questions, George, I don't know if you want folks to save them to the end or jump in. What would work
Yeah,
best for you?
that doesn't matter to me. Just pull the hook out, drag me off stage when it's time, because I'm just gonna nerd out and have fun. If we ask questions along the way or we save them, whichever, I'll try to do my best to keep a lookout in the chat pane for them. Yeah,
Cool. We'll try to help you out with that, George.
cool.
All right. Well, without further ado, over to you, George. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having us. Sorry for being late there with some technical difficulties. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm also going to put you all so I can see if any faces pop up on the screen and all that good stuff. So here's the thing. Let me be completely honest with you. If you would have asked me as quick as 3 to 4 weeks ago if I would be on this training talking about Breeze, I would have told you heck no. If you have told me 3 to 4 weeks ago that I'd be doing a webinar July 17th with 2 HubSpotters about, wait, Breeze can do this, I would tell you no, because I am actually the guy who for 2+ years have been doing everything AI outside of HubSpot, nerding out in Claude Code, setting up my own systems, vibe coding websites, all of that stuff. And so a couple things have happened in the last, let's say, 30 days that changed my mind and decided, A, I need to start talking about this, paying attention to this, and teaching this because it has become a part of HubSpot that now I think will add value to the humans who might actually not be doing this or started with ChatSpot, which turned into Breeze, which then, by the way, not everybody knows this. There is a moment in time where it got completely rebuilt. So behind the scenes, the ChatSpot code base went away. A new Breeze assistant was built. And that's what we're kind of playing on top of right now, is what they've built as kind of a V2 of this. So I am bringing you this information as a guy who thought, I don't know if I'll ever teach this. Okay. So here's the thing to do to get started. One, I know we have some power users, but the first thing that I want to make sure that everybody knows is that you should have all of your apps connected, any that you want to connect, Gmail, Google Drive, because Breeze plays nice with different areas of your business. So, for instance, if I wanted to look for a certain document, and I didn't want to leave HubSpot to do that, and I am using something like Google Docs in this case, or something like SharePoint, if you have that connected, you can simply be in your HubSpot portal and ask for a certain document, and it'll go find that document. So, again, very useful depending on what you're trying to look for. Think about that as far as an email too, where maybe it's like, I want to do something like, hey, can you find the latest email that I sent to the NASDAQ center that I'm working with? And then you could literally just hit enter. It's going to go ahead and start to look through your information. It'll find that email that was sent recently, and then it will go ahead and post it in here, and you'll start to be able to work with it, but only if you have these connected apps. The other thing I want to hit before we get into kind of some nerdy pieces and parts of this, by the way, you can see here's what's happening. Howdy, checking on the updates, all the good stuff, gives you the sources. You can thumb up, thumbs down. You can even copy the message and go from there. Really what this is too is being able to bring in the context that you need for the conversations that you're trying to have outside of this. For instance, I can now start to dig a little bit deeper and then eventually build out the email. We'll talk about that later, how you can actually build emails inside of Breeze and send from Breeze as well. But once you have those connected apps, the other thing that I need people to really get them up to speed is understand that you can start to do projects inside of here. And what I want you to understand is this right here fundamentally changes the way that you should be thinking about Breeze. Here's the fortunate, unfortunate thing that we have to change our mindset around. As soon as you log into HubSpot, you think Breeze is about HubSpot. Breeze is not about HubSpot. Breeze is another assistant, officially another assistant, meaning you could put this with ChatGPT, you could put this with Claude, and you could say Breeze as like 3 pillars of assistants that you could use. Because now it doesn't have to be just about HubSpot. It could be about anything. So for instance, as a random example, what I did is I created a project here that is SKS Randomizer. And in here, what you're going to see is that I have uploaded a couple images. I can add more if I want to go ahead and upload file or add to Knowledge Vault or add CRM records in here. But I've also given instructions that it's supposed to follow. And then you can see that I'm allowing it to also browse the web. Or if I wanted to, I could let this project write to the CRM. Now, in this example, what I'm actually showing is that you can use the Breeze Assistant. Notice all I did was type in, create a Sidekick mascot pose. That's it. And by the way, I'm purposely going to use very dumb, short prompts or conversation pieces in this training, in this meeting, in this get together, whatever you want to call what we're doing right now. Because I want you to realize normally I would do a lot longer. And as you've noticed, I would talk to it with something like whisper flow versus ever typing. But I wanted to show, like, as simple as you wanted to make it, you're going to still get powerful things. So notice I said, create a Sidekick mascot pose. What it did is it actually gave me 3 different poses: a youthful sidekick superhero with big gold blonde, quiff swept rights, like blah, blah, blah. The colors, all the lighting dynamics, the camera information, right? And so it gave me the prompts that I could then take and use somewhere. Or I can come in and I can say, hey, can you just actually generate the image? And so what I want you to see is that Breeze literally inside of HubSpot has now generated an image of the Sidekick mascot, okay, which before would have never been heard of. You would have gone to like the blog tool and the image generation tool, and you would have generated them there. So what I want you to think about this is if like you have something where you need featured images for your blogs, or you want to do something that's very granular as like the look feel, you could literally set up a project in Breeze, give it some instructions, give it some examples of what you're trying to do from an image standpoint, and it could be your image generation machine without even needing to step into any of the tools. Okay. Let's go out of the image and let's say Unbound 2006 talk. Basically, what I've done here, just as an example, is I've uploaded some deep research documents, and I haven't even given it instructions yet. I've just given it those documents. And you could even do something as kind of crazy as like, hey, I'm setting up this project in HubSpot Breeze. I've given you some content around my Unbound 2026 talk, and I just want you to look at the information and give me some custom instructions that would help me be able to use this project as a self-learning project before I step on stage so I can knock it out the park. Now, yes, that was some promotion for Unbound in my talk and all that good stuff, but it is a great example of being able to say, hey, I'm going to use HubSpot's Breeze to create the custom instructions to the project that I'm actually going to be able to use to educate myself on the thing that I'm trying to learn about and then teach at a granular level. I lean into this because I want you to think about the assistant as an assistant. Yes, you can put it to work, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but you can also put it to learn, meaning helping you learn. And another side piece of this that not everybody knows is you can literally call up HubSpot Academy videos and HubSpot Academy information or knowledge articles. You probably know about that, but you can literally call up videos for different tools that you're in. So for instance, while this is cooking, if I go automation and I go workflows, beep, 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 beep. Come on, HubSpot. There we go. And I open this in a new tab. I can literally come over here to the assistant and I can say that I want to go into a new conversation and be like, hey, can you give me a video on workflows and how to get started with HubSpot workflows from HubSpot Academy? And because I'm going to go ahead and put this in here, and I'm also on the workflows page, I'm giving it the magic word, context. And this is one thing that I want everybody to realize too, is each page of your HubSpot portal gives context to the conversation that you're trying to have with your portal. So the idea of navigating around somewhere to start a conversation so it can look at the thing is a thing. So notice scaling your data quality AI tools. It starts to bring in a bunch of different videos. The Smart Learned Guide to HubSpot Academy, getting started with HubSpot Academy. Well, it brought up HubSpot Academy. And so I would just be like, hey, I meant workflows, HubSpot workflows. Give me videos on that. And then I'll go ahead and just hit enter. And so again, you'll start to be able to teach it the way that you're talking to it or the things that you want to know, which I will also say leans into this. And that is you do have the ability to give it memories. So what I could do here is I could say, hey, I want to give this a memory. And I want to say, give it the memory of when I talk about HubSpot Academy videos, I'm not really looking for HubSpot Academy itself, but I'm looking for the videos that I can work with. Now notice start workflows in 5 minutes, and it gives me a link to that thing. So using it as being able to learn, using it in a way that you can give it memories, use your projects, and even save your prompts are just kind of some simple things that you can do. Now I'm going to come back over here and notice custom instructions for Unbound 26 Talk project. Core role, you are not just helping me write, you are helping me internalize, pressure test, sharpen, and rehearse my Unbound 26 talk. So now what I can do is I can literally come over here and I can grab all of this information, which I didn't have to write any of. By the way, I would not do this normally, but I am in the moment with you guys. I would literally read through this. And now what I can do is I can come back to my project. I can come back to my settings. I can come to my custom instructions and I can hit done. and save. And now those custom instructions will help me keep editing. Those custom instructions will help me move forward with this project. All right, we'll go ahead and leave that so it can be done.
Hey George,
So, yes.
one quick question. What model is this using? Do you happen to know?
So I don't know the model that it's using underneath it. If I had to take a guess, by the way, I wouldn't say that it's a model. I would say that knowing HubSpot, it's probably models working together in conjunction, but I don't know what's underneath this giving it the power that it has so far.
Wild,
Great
wild. This is
question.
so much better. Yeah.
Oh, just wait, just wait. Okay. So, which by the way, let's go ahead and dive into one thing that blew my mind, and that is most humans, their Achilles heel is workflows. And here's the thing, usually people will go automations, workflows, and they'll say, hey, I need to create a workflow. They'll say they want to create a workflow from scratch, and then all of a sudden it's like, because guess what? I don't see Breeze right now. Do I have Breeze in actions? Yes, but I don't see Breeze here where I can work with it. The fun thing that most people I don't think try, and I'm going to show you another place where you can do this as well. If I open my assistant, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to a new chat, and then I'm going to go ahead and say create workflow from scratch, what you'll see is Breeze will actually open on top of the workflow. And so what this allows me to do is say, hey, can you go ahead and build a workflow for me that basically when anybody fills out a form, it'll send 3 emails. There's a 1-day delay in between each of the emails. It also sets them to a marketing contact at the very beginning and maybe does a 2-minute delay. Can you build that for me? And of course, there'll probably be placeholders and there'll be questions along the way. But this is where I like to talk about that Breeze now has hands. It's not just the brain, it's not just being able to talk to it, but it's about getting it to do things. And so notice I'll build a contact-based workflow that enrolls anyone who submits a form, adds a 2-minute delay, marks them as a marketing contact. It's literally giving me the thing. If you want, you can just reply with use event confirmation 1, 2, or 3, use inbound. Okay, I'm going to use this just as an example. Obviously, this is telling you that you should have the emails written beforehand, but it's going to go ahead and grab those emails. It's going to start to build out this workflow in front of our very eyes. Now, while this is baking, let me tell you a story. I was working in a client portal and they use Mighty Networks for their community and HubSpot for their CRM. And they had not yet at that point built a custom solution for integrating Mighty Networks data with HubSpot CRM. So we were trying to get where they had been using a HubSpot form for a submission as actually what they would then go and create or have a link sent to the person to create their account. And they wanted to know create date for Mighty Networks, which equaled basically the form submission for historical form submissions. But they now had the integration. They were automatically getting this, but they wanted to backfill the data. I went in and asked HubSpot, one note on the set the trigger on all form submissions, since you said when anybody feels ready to create, yes, please create it. And so basically what I did is I went into their portal and I said, hey, we have this property. It's Mighty Networks create date. And we've got this form submission date for this form. Is there any way that you can walk me through how I can make that form submission date the date of this property? And I was on a view of 192 people that needed this change. I fully thought that it would be it's created in draft disabled mode. So the latest step to review is to turn on. Okay, so I'm going to refresh this because I'm trying to figure out if Breeze is having a mental breakdown. Okay, I've got the email set now. OneNote, set the trigger to all forms. Done. Let's go over here. Oh, it even brought it in the new editor. Oh, you're very interesting, Breeze. Okay, anyway, that's a happy accident because it is what it is. I'll talk about that in a minute. So anyway, I fully expected in the use case that I'm telling you about where it would be like, yeah, go and build this workflow and do this thing. Instead, it asked me if it wanted me, or if it asked me if it should just go ahead and make that date, the date for the 192 contacts, the property. I said yes. And within like 7 minutes, all of a sudden that property backfilled to the historical data and we could build the report that we wanted to build. I'm showing you this and telling you all of this because what I want you to realize is, again, the hands, the action, the thing that you can get it to do, and the places that you can get it to do it from. So imagine this. How many times have you had to build a workflow and you sat there and you clicked about 12 to 20 times to set all of these things in place? A lot. Now you can have a conversation, hit enter, walk into your kitchen, grab a coffee, come back, and your workflow's done. Or better yet, if you have multiple screens, you could be working on multiple things. And when I say you're working on multiple things, your assistant is actually working on multiple things. Okay. So think outside of what you maybe used to ask it. And with that, what I want to say is I think one superpower for Breeze Assistant and you moving forward is the ability to just be curious, the ability to just ask it if it can and be okay with if it can't. For instance, another example of this, I wanted to see how far it had gone over the last couple of days. I asked it if it could see ClickUp because we use ClickUp as an agency. It can see it. It can see it's connected, but right now the powers that be haven't built anything that will actually let me create a task from Breeze yet. Now, I can do that from Claude all day long. I can do that from ChatGPT all day long. So there are still some connectors that could get a little bit more robust to be able to do things and this be the one place. But when it comes to things that fit into your RevOps, your content, your sales, like this can definitely be the place where you are doing a lot of the work and getting a lot of the information. All right. This is pretty wild if you think about it. Shared organ. Yep. What are your guidelines on using Breeze versus Claude? Matt, great question. So I can only tell you where I'm at right now, and that is right now probably 80% of what I do for us as an agency still lives inside of Claude code. Now, again, 30 days ago, I would have told you that 95% of that, right? So there are some things that are starting to drip into HubSpot because of Breeze being better. Now, the number is completely different with the amount of things that I use Breeze to do for the clients that we service. So I want you to think about that perspective of it too. Like, because we have our systems and I can get to them in a certain way, I do it this way. And also because we've done it for almost 2 years that way. Meanwhile, because I don't have the way to get to some things, but I can through HubSpot, it gives me some freedom and flexibility to do more of this Breeze stuff for clients. Okay, so let's talk about some other things that are kind of cool. If I go into CRM and I go into humans and I'm just going to search here for, let's minimize this. I'm going to search for Jorge because that'll be a nice, safe one. I'll pull up Jorge, my sidekick here. And what I will do is I'm just going to ask Bree some simple things. Hey, can you tell me what we talked about on our last meeting so I can just get a refresher and maybe tell me like 2 or 3 things that we might want to talk about next? Again, very conversational, using whisper flow, just talking. What I want you to understand what's happening right now is it's looking at Jorge. It's looking at any associated calls with Jorge, meaning Zoom meetings, transcripts, all of those things that HubSpot pulls in. And notice it's literally telling you what it's doing. You can also open this up if you're a nerd like me and you can be like, hey, what is it actually looking at? What is it doing here? Sometimes I wish HubSpot would get a little bit more granular in here, but still, if you like to see it, you can see, oh, that's because I'm on a test one. Let me go back and search Jorge again. Here we go. And let's go ahead and try that one more time on the real contact that has real associations to it. So now let's try this again right here and go, hey, I put you on the correct record. Let's try this again. And again, what I just did, and I'll unpack what I'm doing because I think it has a little bit to do with Breeze, but more to do with just the way we use AI. Talking to it like it's a human, giving it the additional context. Look, I've got the right contact now. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the things that you've asked for. I'm literally the ability to lead. That could get to a very interesting conversation. Like as humans, not all of us are leaders with other humans, but with AI, if we're going to be human powered, AI assisted, we need to have the tendency or understanding to lead communicationally with our AI assistants. So again, if you are always thinking about how do I give it the context to the conversation, the correct or correctedness that it needs, it always works out a lot better. So if you want 2 to 3 smart things to talk about, I'd suggest inbox tracking, setup decisions, segmentation and bounce logic, and audit flow through. So I'm going to be like, hey, can you go ahead and craft an email for me so I can just send an email to Jorge that the next time we meet, I want to talk about number 1 and number 2. And of course, use our Sidekick Strategy brand and George B. Thomas voice while you're writing this email for me. Now, again, I could go over, I could click this email button, or I could let Breeze go ahead and do the thing here. What I would challenge you to do is I would challenge you to see how many times you don't have to click in HubSpot. And what I mean by that is the way that you don't click in HubSpot is you talk to Breeze. And the other thing I'll say is the more you talk to Breeze, knowing HubSpot historically, the better Breeze will get, because it will have the understanding and information and data that's happening with the usage of Breeze. But we'll let this go ahead and write its email. I want to show you another use case that is like extremely, for me, was very interesting. And I'm going to ask a question in the chat pane. I want to get some feedback. If you're using the customer agent currently, put a thumbs up. If you're not using the customer agent currently, put a thumbs down. Because I'm very curious about this, by the way, because this is the AI ops thing. If you're using customer agent, thumbs up in the chat pane. If you're not using customer agent, thumbs down in the chat pane. Because I'm super, super curious. Okay, some thumbs down are happening. So, okay, now notice while you're doing the thumbs up and thumbs down, let's see if we can get a whole bunch of people to give me thumbs up, thumbs down for if you're using customer, no judgment, by the way. I'm just asking, are you using customer agent or not? That's all I want to know. So notice here, though, what I have is I have follow-up email, and now I can hit insert or I can edit in Canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and expand this, and I'm going to say edit in Canvas. And what I want you to, add legal basis, whatever. Thank you. Yes. Save, because it's Jorge. So what I want you to realize that I've now done is I've literally gone from Breeze right here for it crafting me the draft to now having the email with a subject line, my email to Jorge. Notice I've got my meeting links here. If this was actually for sales, quotes could be here, documents could be here, CC, BCC, all of that stuff. And now I can literally modify this, or I can go ahead and just send this. Because notice, send email, copy to clipboard, or even send later. So I didn't have to go click. I didn't have to go type. I just, hey, here, do this research. Give me these things because of the research. Take this thing and turn it into an email. Let me slightly modify it, which, by the way, I should have not told it number one and number two. I should have told it the topics that I actually wanted to talk about, but these are ways that it'll get better, or ways that I as a human can get better to give it what it needs to do. But notice I still have Breeze here. And so I'm going to say, hey, instead of actually using number one and number two, can you call it the things that you used for number one and number two in the actual information that you gave me? Let's try to fix that, because obviously Jorge is not going to know what number one and number two is. So we'll see, by the way, if I go ahead and edit this, what happens. I'm imagining I'll get to a V2 version that I'll be able to implement. But again, this brings me to another mindset that I want people to get real comfortable with, and that is iterate, 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 iterate on the thing that you're trying to create. I'm just going to do this. Yes. Yes, because it's Jorge. Save. There we go. All right. So now look at that. A little bit of tweaking, and it actually gave me what I wanted instead of number one, number two. Okay. Again, still didn't have to type, just talked. By the way, I'll use this as an opportunity to tell you, I believe there will be a day where you will log into HubSpot and it'll be like you're talking to Jarvis, and you'll just ask for the things that you want to be done, and HubSpot will do them. I'm just planting a flag right now. When that day happens, you can be like, hey, you remember back in 2026 when George B. Thomas said, I'm telling you, it'll be a day. Okay. So you can see that you can send emails from Breeze. Here's the other thing, and here's why I asked about Customer Agent. You can go over to Service, you can go to Customer Agent, and if you get to Customer Agent, and when you get into the guidelines part of this, if you get all sorts of close, thank you. If you, 5, thanks, and send, and close. If you get to the guidelines portion, and you get all sorts of nervous of like, how do you set this thing up, and how do you actually get to what you want here? What I want you to realize is when this is blank, you can come over and you can come to your assistant and you could start a new chat, and you could say, let's say, I want them to look at georgebthomas.com instead of Sidekick Strategies. I'll just grab that URL and I'll come over here and be like, hey, I want to set up a second version of this in another portal, but I want you to see like the guidelines and everything we would need for instructions, but I want you to do it for this website. And so I'll just go ahead and paste this in, and then I'll say, please research that website and then go ahead and give me all of the information that I would need to set up a customer agent in HubSpot for georgebthomas.com. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit the little button here and let it bake. And what you should see, if Breeze doesn't let me down, is that it's going to go and do that research. So it's going to go ahead and load the tools. It's going to go ahead and fetch the web information. It's a speaker coach, HubSpot expert, yada, yada, yada. And so what you should see is it's going to give me the custom instructions for each one of the guidelines, or at least a starting point to which then I can go ahead and read and modify those. And here's another point, is there is never a place that you are building or doing something in HubSpot that you should have the starting from scratch gap. You can always use your assistant to at least get past the starting from scratch and get to a place where, again, you're just using that iterative mindset to take what it gets you from the beginning to where you want to actually take it to that you actually move forward. So it's trying to generate or working on generating the artifact, and we'll show that in a minute. Now, I know I'm getting close to my time, so I'm going to say one thing before we see if there's any other questions or whatnot. When I put the LinkedIn post out about, wow, Breeze can do that thing, it went insane. It went nuts. Okay. And so one of the things that somebody mentioned, and I have tested, and I would ask you to play around with past this training, is they have figured out how to use Breeze Assistant to basically do a full portal audit. Now, do I want you to try to do a full portal audit? No, but here's one thing I'll give you as like an action takeaway. Well, I'll give you two. One, if you had a thumbs down in the chat pane, you now can see that you literally could get a summary of the information and then go ahead and get to work on actually building out what the items would be for the customer agent. Okay. Now, the thing I want to give you though is navigate in your portal to your properties section, let's say with contact properties, and then give it a prompt of, hey, I want you to look at all the contacts. I want you to do a contact property or look at all the contact properties. I want you to do a contact property audit. Tell me all the properties that don't have descriptions. Tell me all the properties that feel like they might be duplicates. Tell me all the properties that have 0 submissions and might not be needed, and anything else that you can think of. Now, I just literally gave you the prompt, and many of you will go and do that and be surprised at the information that it will deliver. The other thing I'll say that is very interesting too is doing something like this. I just can't stop. I'm going to do one more. Imagine going into reporting. We'll go ahead and close this. We'll close this. Thank you, Breeze. We'll go into marketing. We'll go into sources. We'll go ahead and open up the assistant. We'll go back and we'll go something like this. Hey, can you act like I'm a 5th grader? Can you look at this sources report and can you just tell me all the things that I need to know, good, bad, and ugly, so that I can present this to my boss later today, which is weird because I'm the boss. Anyway, let's go ahead and let it do that and hit enter. And now again, what you're going to see is I've given it the context on the page. It's going to look at that context on the page and it's going to explain the report. So if you've ever been like me and you're like, what the heck is this report saying? Well, now you can get Breeze to explain it to you like you're a 5th grader, a 9th grader, whatever grader you want to be. But there's absolutely 0 reason to ever say again in HubSpot, well, I don't understand. Because you can easily understand, because you now have a powerful assistant that is here to help you understand. Notice all of the stuff that you can learn along the way as it's even getting to the point where it's going to explain the good, the bad, and ugly of this information. So I'll stop there. Brian, if there's any questions, thoughts, let's open up the conversation.
Yeah, sounds good. George, this is awesome. I think I'm going to ask the first question,
Yeah.
and it's sort of a question slash observation. Like, it seems to me what's happened here, especially with this model, is HubSpot has addressed sort of the shared context, shared infrastructure layer, right?
Yes.
It's like a replacement for Claude Team Premium, which is like what, $600-700 a month
Yep.
minimum.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, it is wild. The amount of tools, if you're paying attention. By the way, I'm going to back out 50,000 foot HubSpot conversation, even though we're talking to Breeze. The amount of tools that you've been able to shut off in the last 6 months to 12 months because of HubSpot is ridiculous. The new note taking stuff over the last 6 to 8 months and not needing things like Avoma or other tools, projects, and actually some companies being able to pull off of ClickUp or Asana and do it inside of HubSpot, dependent upon your business. What Breeze now does and the amount of AI that you can do and work that you can do inside of HubSpot and not need to be somewhere else. I said this to one of the project managers probably about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, is that the way to beat the SaaS apocalypse is become the SaaS. And HubSpot seems to be on a mission to become the SaaS for businesses where they don't necessarily need a lot of the other things that potentially would be there. So that is a moat of, I dare somebody, by the way, to go vibe code their own HubSpot. Not happening. Just my opinion. You can do a lighter version, but not happening with everything that's happened. The amount of daily updates, you're just not, you're not doing it.
Yeah, yeah. There's a question here from Angela. George, as with workflows or emails, can Breeze work with other tools like forms, reports, landing pages, and so on?
Yeah. Yep. So you can totally ask Breeze to add properties. So for instance, I'll tell you a story and then you can go see if you can do this in Breeze currently in its state. My story is outside of Breeze, but I'm going to tell you a story that was very interesting just to kind of get people's minds open to it. One of the things we do with a lot of our clients, because they want very micro reporting on their forms, is we do 5 hidden fields. We create custom properties for content, term, source, campaign. And we create those properties. We create those as hidden fields inside of forms. And so I actually used Claude Code with a customer portal and was like, hey, I've got like 48 forms. Can you add these 5 properties as hidden properties on all of the forms? And it did it in like 7 minutes, which was beautiful. So, but Breeze, you can literally be like, hey, can you create this property? Just had an interview on the Hub Heroes podcast with Jack Cooper Smith, which, by the way, for that episode, he was Jack Revenue Smith, which was absolutely hilarious because of Revenue Hub. We're getting into days where Breeze will create products, Breeze will create quotes, Breeze will do like, there's a lot of things that Breeze is moving into that direction with even Revenue Hub and just different things like that. So yes, as an example, by the way, even if I go into content blog and I open up my assistant first, and then I go ahead and go to back and new conversation. If I go into a blog article with my assistant open, it'll be here. And I can say something like, let me go back. I can be like, hey, can you turn this blog information into 3 different social posts, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, also like a promo email, and maybe anything else that you can think of that I should create out of this blog content. And so literally what I'm showing you is Breeze for content confetti to like, I don't even have to go to, I don't have to go to menu and then, I'm not going to say the tool because they still want you to use the tool, but you don't have to use the tool because Breeze can be the tool for content confetti. You get what I'm saying. So it's literally, I'm going to turn the blog into small promotion kit by first checking brand voice, blah, 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 blah. And so the answer, long-winded, by the way, is yes, you can use Breeze with a bunch of different tools. So just be curious and test it with the tool in question.
Awesome. There was a question, George, about AEO. I'm wondering about our AEO and blog and how Breeze can help make sure the content is boosting AEO. And Tracy shared the HubSpot's AEO grader in the chat. If anyone hasn't seen it, definitely give that a try too. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, George.
So I haven't tested Breeze with the HubSpot AEO tool yet. I think that gets interesting. Where my brain goes with that would be to ask Breeze to look at all your current content on HubSpot Content Hub and suggest maybe what you should be putting in for the AEO tool. Because by the way, part of that is knowing what to put in to get the results of what you're actually trying to see. So actually, a second thing comes to mind too is maybe asking Breeze to walk you through the best way to set it up based on your portal's context. So kind of two directions there. I haven't done that yet, but I think it'd be very interesting. Also, I think that's still in beta, and maybe when it comes out of beta, there will be more connected to it with Breeze. But anyway. Ooh, look, save this prompt. Beep. Yes, sir, please.
Yep, brilliant. Any other questions, team? Anyone want to come off mute? Would love to see Matt. Do you want to come off mute or I can ask for you. Would love to see Breeze do analysis of closed won deals or lost versus ICP, and if it could create an ICP document based on provided template.
So, so here, let's do this. Let's just go back and let's go CRM and let's go humans. And then let's quickly just go ahead and get past all those emails and go back and hey, I want you to look at all of the contacts in my HubSpot CRM, and I want you to do your best job to create, let's say, 3 ideal client profiles, slash maybe on the verge of like even buyer personas. Can you give me that information, please? Again, if you're curious, just ask and then see what can happen. By the way, as far as the closed loss, closed won, yes, you can ask that. Anything that deals with numbers, reporting, or data structured or unstructured that we have in HubSpot, at this point, you can ask Breeze about it and it'll give you information. Heck, you can even ask it to build a report. Hey, I'm thinking about this, blah, 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 blah. Can you build a report right here so I can visualize it? And it'll literally build it and you'll be able to visualize it. And then also it usually gives you a save button if you want to save it and like get back to it in the actual reporting tool. Strong segment signals. I've confirmed your database has a lot more signals in persona, sources, HubSpot maturity. I've got enough to draft credible profiles. The cleanest clusters are SMB HubSpot help seekers, agency side HubSpot practitioners, and a small but real advanced growth oriented segment. Yep, these are my humans. And so notice it's literally generating an artifact that I'll be able to then have, use, and pay attention to for whatever I want to do next. And by the way, I probably would like give it a better conversation, but for this, I'm just trying to do super simple prompts or conversations or words.
Here's a question for you, George. So for partners and pros and folks that are out there thinking about helping others get set up, anything that you need to do or think about to like put a client or a user in a position to be able to use Breeze?
I think some of the things that I've said during this training, curiosity, iteration, the fact that you can't break anything, I think those are key pieces of this. Also walking them through and just showing kind of like, by the way, notice there was no presentation deck. There was no chance in HE double hockey sticks that I was showing up here with a presentation. Because if you show in the tool, then they can do in the tool. Because what they've seen, they understand, and what they understand, they can do, right? Ooh, let's tweet that out. My God. Anyway, and so showing them, but then giving them the freedom, the curiosity, giving them potentially some prompts. Because by the way, when you saw me save that prompt, I said, let my team find it. And so if you're an agency person and you create some prompts and save them, you're also giving them jumping off points or starting off points. So yeah, I mean, and also like part of this whole thing is letting them know that it's possible. You know how many
Mm-hmm.
people travel HubSpot like 90% of their day and don't even think about hitting the assistant button because they don't understand the power that's underneath there? Like even just talking about like, hey, have you used the assistant lately? Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. It'll be beep, 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 thumbs down, like for a lot
Yeah.
of users.
And it doesn't consume credits. I don't
No,
believe. Nothing that
no,
we looked at today involves
nope,
credits, which is awesome.
no, yes. Yeah, yes, it's awesome. No, it doesn't take
Cool.
credits.
Lisa asked, do you have a good workaround for Breeze, either for the knowledge vault, looking at only snippets of a large list instead of utilizing the entire list? I've had Breeze propose language to do this, must use entire list, but then I run another test and it still truncates the list.
So you should be, if I understand the question properly, which I may not, but if I understand the question properly, if you give it a segment or a view, and you say, I only want you to look at the view that we are on right now and do XYZ, or give me XYZ, or show me XYZ, then it should limit itself to that segment you're on or view that you're on. And that's another piece that I hope everybody paid attention to, is like I didn't stay on the home page and ask for a bunch of stuff. I flew around to different parts of the tool and did a thing. And so again, back to my one example I shared, I literally was on a view of 192 people. I said, I need this data to change on only these 192 people. And therefore Breeze was only looking at those folks to do the thing that I asked for.
Got it.
Hopefully I answered that right and the question was right.
Yeah, my fault. I butchered that. Sorry, Lisa. If we didn't get it right, let us know.
Yeah,
Any
George at
other
georgebthomas.com. You can ask me any questions you want, anybody on the thing. I'm always here to help.
cool. We have just a couple minutes left. I don't know if there are any last minute questions for George.
Hopefully everybody enjoyed this. It wasn't
Yeah,
boring, hopefully.
not at all. Not at all. Unleash the power here. This was amazing. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, George, thank you so much for joining and
Yeah.
for talking us through that. Like, you really is, I think there's been a paradigm shift here amongst folks on the call on like how to think about Breeze and how to rethink about Breeze, which is so cool. So thank you for
Yeah.
doing it. Thanks
You bet.
for helping all of us learn and grow better than ever together.
My pleasure.
Awesome. All right, everybody, have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.